Hey everybody, welcome back, and please excuse my voice. I have been traveling a ton, and in my job I have to talk almost constantly, and so I think with the weather change and everything, it's just all catching up with me. But hopefully I can get through this without croaking too much and teach you a little bit more about how to go to Disney for less than $1,000. Now, I know some people are like, what? Less than $1,000? Like, that's not really that much of a deal, but I never really knew how expensive going to Disney World was. It's definitely a trip that you have to plan for and save for, and now I'm ever more thankful for the number of times that I've been to Disney World because I know how much it costs, and like, it was a lot for one person to pay. So my dad has been paying for 5 people to go to Disney World all these years and years. So special shout out to my dad and a big thank you, because it was like pretty interesting to figure out how to make this video and make it work. So if you're wondering where I got the basis for all of these numbers that I'm about to present to you, I'm speaking from my own experience. Recently, I went to Disney World, well, relatively recently, like a year ago in September. We went for Brian's birthday week / just to go because we had some extra vacation days lying around, and we ended up spending roughly $1,100 a person. But once we thought about it, we were like, we definitely could have done this for under $1,000. Now, we might have had to make some sacrifices here and there with our dinner reservations or that extra souvenir that we picked up, but it is totally doable. The things that we thought were most important and that are just things that you have to pay for that I wanted to touch on are hotels, your park tickets, and food, because those are the things that you have to go to Disney World. You don't have to buy the extra souvenirs. You don't have to do all the extra special things here and there at Disney, because you can have so much fun doing just the bare minimum as well, especially if it's your first time. We worked with a travel agent. His name was Tyler Braun of TylerTravelsTV. I know I mentioned that in my last Disney video, but he really did such a great job, so I wanted to do a little plug for him because he found us a really great hotel deal. And what I did to get the hotel numbers as well as the rest was pull down the quote that he sent us when we worked with him, and I sort of went off that and did the math, dividing it by 2 because I paid up front for everything, and then Brian and I just split it right down the middle. So I wanted to give you an understanding of sort of like the total cost and the type of trip that I'm talking about that you can do for less than $1,000. So this is under the assumption that you're going to go to the parks for 4 days and then have 1 extra day at Disney. Now, this could be going to Disney Springs, which is a totally free event, or just spending it maybe an extra day at the parks, which would have its own cost associated with it. But because we went for 6 nights and 5 days, those are the numbers that I sort of had to go off of. And I think that it is important to do things outside of the Disney parks to see truly how much that Disney has to offer you that are not just the theme parks and the rides and everything that you're used to seeing on TV. So let's dive in. I think that the best place to start is the hotel, because this is usually where I start when I plan a trip. It's like, okay, how much is it going to cost just for us to be there? My best recommendation if you want to keep costs low is to stay at an all-star resort. Staying on the grounds brings its own benefits, like you have free shuttles to and from the parks every day, and you get a free shuttle from the airport. So if you fly in, then the Magical Express will actually pick you up at a designated time from the airport and take you straight to your resort. So you're not paying for an additional Uber or any other taxi. So that's saving you money right there. Then each morning when you wake up, you just go get in line for the proper bus and it'll take you to the parks. This is a huge perk to me because this means that you're staying on the ground, so you're not having to rent an extra car and you're not having to pay to park each day. So that's instant savings right there. While maybe your hotel room costs just a tiny bit more from staying at a traditional hotel off the grounds, the cost that you're saving far outweigh the price difference between the 2 hotels. We ended up staying at the All-Star Movies Resort, which is, again, a value resort, and Tyler, our travel agent, ended up finding us a really good back-to-school fall deal. So I have all my numbers written down on my little notebook, so if I keep looking down, it's because I want to give you the factual numbers. Let's see, our All-Star Value Resort for 6 nights was a total of $730. So if you divide that by 2, we ended up paying $365 a person for 6 nights of stay. I think that is incredible, especially because a lot of traditional hotels run you know, like $100, $120, $140 a night. So we actually ended up paying $61 a night each. This was amazing. Now, typically, travel agents will know deals. So regardless of the time of year, they're gonna be able to get you some sort of discount on where you're staying. So that's why I think using a travel agent, at least for your accommodations, is super important. So I'm not gonna touch on airfare in this video, even though I do think that transportation is obviously a very important point. Like, how on earth are you gonna get to Disney World? But because everybody's situation is very different, that's just a really hard thing to generally gauge. So I'm wanting to give you the cost of actually being at Disney for less than $1,000. So if you don't agree, I'm sorry, click out of the video. But it's just too hard. Plane fares change all the time. Different people have mounds of points. I got my plane ticket for $40 to Orlando for this trip. So it just depends on the deals. It's a little too unpredictable, so I can't sit here and throw out an airplane ticket number. And I also can't calculate the miles from your house and the amount of gas that you're gonna have to spend. So that's just gonna have to be tacked on. So my goal here is to give you something less than $1,000, and maybe you can supplement the remaining difference between the final number I'll give you and $1,000 to allocate toward gas or something. So if you feel like maybe staying on the Disney parks at the time of year that you're thinking about going is a little bit more expensive than staying at an outside hotel, make sure that you stay at a surrounding hotel that actually has a free shuttle associated with it that will take you to and from the Disney parks. This is just extra savings on transportation per day. You're not having to park at the park, so even if you drive, how about only pay for parking at the hotel rather than pay for parking at both the hotel and parks each day? I think that those are really awesome alternatives, especially if maybe you have, a whole lot of Hilton points or you have a whole lot of Marriott points. These are easy ways that you can save money on your stay and going to Disney World. So I guess outside of the hotels, now that I've presented the prices to you, my biggest tip is to definitely go with someone. For me and Brian, we both make the same. We're not married. Like, we just decided, okay, you know what? Let's just split this straight down the middle. There's no reason one of us should be paying more than the other. And that really brought our costs down, because if only one person is paying for it, if you're going alone, you're going to end up paying that $730 for 6 nights versus the $365 per person. So all of these numbers that I'm presenting you are based on the assumption that you will go with someone, which I think most people going to Disney World are. So I think that this still applies to a lot of people. And okay, so we've gone over hotel rooms and how you can save there. Again, my biggest recommendation, all-star resorts, or if you have to stay off property for whatever reason, again, you have the hotel points or something, make sure that you're staying with the shuttle to and from the parks. That's the easiest way to keep costs down. So just to keep a running tally of where we are with our total cost right now per person, we're at approximately $365. And that's for your entire stay, considering that you're there for 6 nights. Now again, if you're there for 5 nights, 4 nights, if you decrease the number of nights, the price of your hotel will go down. So you could adjust your trip to save more money. Just a warning, I'm about to hit you with some Disney lingo. So if you have not watched my first video about like Disney tips for first timers, I put up a lot of definitions of Disney lingo and different things that you need to know going into it, because Disney World is not one of those trips that you can just like willy-nilly go into. It takes a lot of planning. You've got to figure out the fast pass system if you want to really be able to ride everything, and you need to know, where to get reservations, because it's really hard to get reservations day of and blah, 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 blah. I'll link that video above so that you can go watch that first and then come back and know what I'm talking about with some of this language. But the second thing that I want to talk about is tickets. So at Disney World, you have 2 different ticket options. You can get tickets that allow you to go to 1 park per day, or you can get what they call park hoppers that allow you to hop from park to park as many times as you want, as many days as you have tickets for. There is a price discrepancy between the two because obviously the park hopper comes with a lot more flexibility. So for us, we went to the parks for 4 days. So if you were to get the 1 day per park tickets that are a little bit cheaper, you would spend somewhere around $695 for 2 people. Split that in half, you're at about $345 a person for 4 days of park tickets. Now, if you want the flexibility to hop from park to park, then you'll end up spending somewhere in the range of $420 a person to have that flexibility. Now, If you're a first timer, I highly recommend just getting the 1-day per park tickets. These are obviously a lot cheaper based on the numbers I just presented, 345 versus 420. And when it's your first time, you really want to go and explore every nook and cranny of each park to figure out which park you like the best. Now, when you've been before, it's sort of fun to go do Magic Kingdom during the day, but then maybe you want to go watch the fireworks at Epcot at night. So it really allows you the flexibility to sort of go all over. Because I'm trying to keep this under $1,000, I'm going to factor in if you added your hotel total with the 1-day park tickets, because again, I think that this is a totally doable option and it's an easy way to cut back. Even if you've been before and you really enjoy that flexibility of a park hopper, but maybe funds are a little tight, just go with that 1-day park ticket to cut down on your costs. Okay, so after the consideration of the cost of the hotel and the park tickets, we're at somewhere around $710 in total cost. So now we have to consider our meals, because you have to eat when you're on vacation. So with $300 left, or $290 if we're going to be totally exact, if you say, okay, I'm only going to eat at quick service restaurants and I'm going to forego the fancy reservations, because you can still eat in really great Disney-like atmospheres while doing quick service. You don't have to eat at the fancy places to feel like you're at Disney. I took the highest end of the quick service range, which is about $15 per meal, and I divided the $290 that we have left in our $1,000 budget by that amount, and you'll arrive somewhere around 19 meals. So I took that total of 19 meals, divided it by 3, considering that you would get 3 $15 meals per day. That equaled out to about 6 days. So that would be the perfect amount of meals for your trip. So I know that Brian and I were not eating 3 $15 meals per day. Our meals obviously all did not cost $15. Some cost a lot less, some cost a lot more. So we're probably averaging out to maybe this amount. But again, we did exceed the $1,000 threshold. So I'm trying to tell you about ways that you could save that maybe we should have implemented in our trip. The moral of the story is, even if you eat the most expensive meal from every quick service station, for all 3 meals, you're still coming in at $1,000 or a little bit under. But I know that you're not going to spend that money, so you're probably going to come in under that $1,000 mark. Any money left over can be allocated toward additional souvenirs. Maybe you want to go to a spa. Maybe you want to do something different at Disney. But what I'm saying is, after you consider the necessities of hotels, meals, and park tickets, there's so much fun to be had that doesn't cost additional money. If you shorten your trip and maybe you just want to go for the 4 days that you're actually going to go to the parks, that's going to bring down the cost of your hotel, the cost of the number of meals, and the cost of your park tickets. But there's some things you just can't pass up. Like that mug back there, it looks just like the teacup ride mugs, and I just thought it was too cute. I like things that look very literal. Like I have a Chip mug that is legitimately Chip from Beauty and the Beast. See, it even has a little indentation of the doors like the ride does and everything. So now that I've laid out all of the basic expenses and general prices of the necessities of going to Disney World, I wanted to give you a couple of tips on ways that you can make additional money to put toward your Disney trip. These are really easy ways that you don't think about maybe allocating towards something big like this, but one way is to get a Disney credit card. Now, my family has one of these, and it has been super helpful for the number of times that we've gone to Disney, because for every dollar you spend, you get a point, and those points can be redeemed for Disney gift cards. So your normal everyday spending that you're going to spend anyway can earn you points to go to Disney. So I know that on that card, you know, when you fill up with gas, you get a certain number of points, and when you get groceries with that card, you get a certain number of points. And we've gotten like several hundreds of dollars just through our basic spending back through the rewards program of this Disney credit card. Now, if you're not diehard Disney like my family is, and you just have a general rewards credit card, like I have one that gives me 2% cash back on every purchase. So what I did is, for this trip, I actually redeemed all of the money that I had back through that program and got Disney gift cards. So we could put that toward meals in the park, and that was just extra money that I was earning. It was money that was not in my bank account. I didn't have to touch anything else. It was just additional money that I earned through my normal everyday spending and paying of bills. So don't forget to allocate different rewards points toward your trip like that to bring down your costs. If you choose not to use a travel agent, which again, I can't recommend a travel agent enough, because first of all, they are free. It's not going to add any more cost to your trip because the company that they work for is paying them for the bookings and everything that they get for you. So travel agents are somebody that can book you a hotel room and then realize, oh gosh, like a fall deal popped up that you probably weren't aware of. Let me adjust your hotel price and get you that additional savings. So it's somebody that's sort of constantly price checking for you, and somebody that can get you the best reservations or help you get, different rewards for staying on the grounds and stuff that you just wouldn't know because you're an ordinary person who's not in the ins and outs of all of these different deals. So if you choose not to use a travel agent, I highly recommend you use sites like Expedia and the general, like budget travel sites that can find you good deals, good discount codes. Recently, I noticed that there are Ebates hotel programs, so you can get up to 10% back on a hotel booking, which when you're paying, like $645 for a week-long worth of hotel rooms, that 10% really is a huge chunk of cash back into your pocket. So be sure that you're using money-saving sites like that if you go to book hotels off the Disney grounds. So those are just 3 additional tips to really help get the cost of your trip down below that $1,000 mark. So if you enjoyed this, then please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to learn more about Disney, I'm going to do my best to come up with more creative videos to do that can really help you, because I have a passion for helping people save money and saving money for myself. And I know that Disney is a place where that's definitely a necessity for a lot of people. So if you like general product reviews or anything of the sort, that's what my channel's all about. I'm just here to help you, give you my take on things that I've tried. And if you like all of this, then subscribe, join the community, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!